Wonderful. All right, now is the time of the evening where we have two very special poet features, and both of these ladies have chapbooks for sale at the front, and it's always nice to pick up something and meet the person who wrote it and have them sign it for you. It's great. So our first poet is Laura Holberg. She's a Portland-based poet and a student at Lewis and Clark. She co-leads their poetry slam club, Apocalypse, and she's represented her school at the College Union Poetry Slam Invitational twice. And she just released her first chapbook, Vibra, last summer. That's the one that's available. So let us welcome up Laura.
So this is my first time at the Eugene Slam. I'm pretty excited. Thank you. It seems wonderful so far. So I got really sick this week and kind of lost my voice. So this is as loud as it's going to get. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, awesome. So I have 4 poems, 2 short ones, 2 kind of long ones. So I'm just going to go right into it because I only have 10 minutes. So this one is from my chapbook. Called Vibra, and it came out last summer, and I reprinted it for tonight, and accidentally had them printed on full-size paper, so it looks like a manuscript of some sort instead of the other way, so yeah. This poem is called You Are Precious, She Told Me. I miss the ever-guilt that held on God's back whenever he rode by my home on the way to my neighbor's. He never stopped by our door. I never heard him speaking in my heart like my teacher at church told me was the way to know you were loved. It is always Judgment Day under the new roof. Sometimes I spread myself out on my bed like Jesus on the cross in hope I may trick God into stopping by. Okay, so this next one is a love poem. Is that okay? Can I read a love poem here? Yeah. Okay. I do not get much done in the drunkenness that happens when I think about you. I become a series of speeches I wait to give. I title them, It Has Been. Do you realize? I have never. What is your most? Could I someday? How fortunate I feel to kneel at the entrance to you, to watch you ride in blazing with your Rose City cheeks. So I wash my hands, genuflect, kiss you on the ridge of your jaw with lips swollen with intention to give you all that you needed and never received. I am suspicious that you love as I love, and it is the first time this has not worried me. I think that you, like me, have spells of waking every morning starving. Do you know how full I feel when I think of you? How kissing you, being wrapped in the length and angles and quiet yearning of you, when my whole mind is on your good, is my meditative practice. Y'all are too kind. Okay, so I have one more short one and then another long one. This one is called Someone You Will Not Have. The peppering dark hair beneath his skin that stretches tight along his knife-sharp jaw. The way his lean hands cradle what he loves. The way he does not touch what is not his. His hands on everything that is not you. Quick lips that hunt for untouched lips, not yours. You feel yourself unraveling in reams and leaving bloodless ribbons at his feet.
Whoa!
So, before my last one, I just want to thank all of you for being so sweet. This is awesome. I'm so glad that Eugene had me come out. This is really wonderful. You guys get a lot of people, and you have free tea, so I'm sold. You have a new fan. So this last one is called I Think Often of the Seizure. I think often of the seizure, feverish concert hall, deep vacuum of the world being swept from me, cymbals clashing brass and heart, my own body slipping from the center out like small sand in an hourglass. I remember the moments just before the collapse, and the seemingly timeless period of dark bliss just after, as I became the pulsation in the wrists of everyone crowded around me, became the sound of my friends shouting my name desperate and distant, comforting in their repetition, became the cymbals, brass and heart and brass and brass and brass, the feeling of complete freedom from my body, the loss of ownership, of selfhood, and simultaneously the absolute completeness that cradled me blind and throbbing, alone and beating across some dark shifting plane, a transcendence. I want to love you like that. With you I am still for the first time. To be with you is to rest. To be with you is to find complete freedom in the cradle of your arms. In the patient night you are a constellation. I recognize your shape in the sky. I know you, even if your stars do not connect tonight. I want to make your stars glow like a fever. During the nights when they are scattered across the unending universe, I know them by their shine, brave and deep and heart and brass. Someday they will all be gathered and tied together in the shape you were born to take. Constellation, I know your name. I recognize you. I want to be what catches your glittering and reflects it back. I want to be the black hole that swallows every hurt. I want to be the cold wind that cradles you, hanging between pinpricks of light in night's gossamer veil. I promise to love you like a shapeshifter, to love shapelessly, helplessly, two bodies alone with each other in complete freedom, beating across some dark, shifting sheet. Thank you.
That people bring love poems to slams. I really Our next poet is all the way from Portland, Oregon. Leah Noble Davidson has enthusiasm up the wahoo. She's been writing and performing poetry for over a decade and is currently ranked 58 in the world. Which is amazing. Yeah, and her debut book of poetry, Poetic Scientifica, is due out this spring through University of Hell Press and promises to be, quote, at once urgent and gorgeous and brutal, unquote. Portland named her ruthlessly charming, and her calling card says, ask her questions. Call her whatever you want. She's here for the first time in Eugene, and let's welcome her.
This is a really gorgeous city. I love how as soon as you enter Eugene, you get this sudden feeling of calmness. And all the books are great. It's kind of more of a purity.
Back seats back from the outhouses.
I have a few poems for you. Let's get started. A love poem. How falling in love is like moving into a new house. It sucks to do alone. For those of us who do it in pairs, one person usually has more junk than the other one does, and when both people have a lot of junk, you need the help of some really good friends. You are usually more excited about these moves than your friends are, who are hoping that this is the last time they're gonna have to help pizza, and beer. When you are in love, it never really feels like it's yours at first. At first, it always feels like it's somebody else's. Is this the kitchen or the bedroom? Do we do our laundry here or do some entertaining? And then, new, undiscovered corners of the house seem fun and interesting. Even if these were the same things you used to hate about other people's houses. Or maybe even your own. Sometimes you find that you have only moved into a different version of the place that you just left. And no matter how hard you try to make it work, some places they just aren't for you. Or your roommate who decides to move on because they had unrealistic expectations of the house. Or hated yard work. Or couldn't stop seeing themselves in the houses down the street. Regardless, you may then find yourself trying to convince someone new to move into this place that you just can't leave. Such people are the same types to travel really long distances just to peer into their own old windows, hoping that everything will be the same, except nobody really lives there anymore. I don't recommend this type of behavior. Even if it leaves you destitute and homeless, in all probability you will find somewhere else. And if you're lucky, may you stumble on your perfect home unplanned, whether it's the one that you hardly see but learn to love all the same, or the one that you grow to know in a constant, comfortable way with just enough light on the front door, a place to write your name on, walls to wash, windows to open. You'll spend just the right amount of time sweeping out the closets, rearranging furniture. You'll learn to dance on the floor in your socks. Go find a hiding cellar. At night, old familiar sounds will comfort even your most worn places. You see, the process, it slows, but you will never really stop moving in. I always think slam is kind of like this weird cross between poetry and confessionals and comedy. I can't always find the difference. Tell me when you do.
What requires paper towels?
Alright. So, a little less fun, but all the same. My mother had this terrible, wonderful, perfect gift of torturing any animal out of its natural behavior. I watched her almost drown a dog for eating chocolate, and she learned her heavy hand with horses. She had me at 17 just before she found some whore's underwear in her bed, and she swore that I would be tough, like tough, like I don't cry, I don't fall, I don't fail, please don't touch me, need me, please me. And she brought me up in revenge of every man who'd ever hurt her, carving away at my insecurities, at everything that made me weak, at everything that made me like my father, like lying. She caught me once when I was little, and she had me list every reason not to, and then write each one 100 times. It takes a 6-year-old 57 after-school hours to write 1,600 sentences, each beginning, "I will never lie to my mother, because when I lie, reason. Because when I lie, reason. Reason. Reason." When I finished them, numbered them, tremble finger pride in every wrinkled page, she barely looked. Instead, she brought me to the trash can, and then she ripped every page to pieces. This, she said, is what lying accomplishes. My mother's horses can count. She can steer them with her voice alone. Her dog Tucker takes commands through window panes. I can shoot a crossbow, a shotgun, and a fuck you look from across the room with surgical precision. I am that good at cutting you out of my heart, my life, and my phone book. All of that was true. Except for that last bit. I wasn't born so tough. I had it beaten into me. And like a dog who is trained to fight in a ring or a bronco after rodeo, I will do everything I can to throw you off. Please, love. Hold on. You see, my mother, she could train any animal to sit or roll over. She never taught me to heal. I have a book coming out called Poetic Scientifica, and it's super nerdy because what I do to make money is design research where I ask people questions, a lot of them, and I have this idea about how language works. It's totally original, I'm sure. But for Eugene, for tonight, to make sure that I did have something, I put together some of the poems that I'm reading tonight. And so I made this. It's called 6 Poems, no news. It's $5 for 6 poems. It's right around the corner. There's only 10. So if you like what you hear, you have an opportunity. I have a couple more poems for you, if that's all right. This one is called On Flight. So it's 1955, and Superman is in a pickle, flipping through the phone book under S, service, seamstress. And he finds a list of names: Barbara, Betty, Carol, Suzanne. Suzanne, he says with a finger plop, goes for the phone but stops. This is the 3rd day he has started this way since deciding that having your mom make your super suit, having your mom measure your junk, is just not going to cut it anymore. But how does a man explain the need for a spandex suit and cape? It's not enough that I can fly, he says. I want to be a hero. And there's no glory in vanilla, so wrap me in saffron and rubies, Suzanne. Wrap me in saffron and rubies. 2. My little bean, he is almost 6 now. And just like me, he wants to do everything. Dog-eared leap and thunderclap under feet. He is trying to fly. He's got imaginary engines strapped to his ankles. Cloud ground, a lottery ticket away. And I say, go for it. Because he's made magic. He can seal his own splintered bones, but I can't bandage a broken spirit. And I know that one day he's going to forget to remember to forget about the gravity of a thing. And I want to say that nothing will ever feel more real than the first time you imagine it. And baby, we have already conquered flight. Remember that time that we flew to Neptune for this picnic and it looked just like our backyard? We stopped to watch sky rocks connecting star dots before bursting into the atmosphere. And you said, Mom, you see that one? Watch it fade. 3. Swan dive from 20 stories high and tell me if the glory is in the landing or the leap. 4. The only difference between a bungee drop and a toddler hop is perspective. 5. My childhood was this weird firefly in a summer breeze, except instead of a firefly, it was this empty suitcase. Instead of a summer breeze, it was this falling plane, and all my favorite lovers were trying to save me from this drop, as if one day I would eggshell shatter, as if one day I would land. Next number. Dear lover, when you step onto the plane, please look down and smile at your shoes for me, for they hold your feet. Just like me, your feet will never doubt you. Simply follow your direction. How lucky they are to travel with you in your silence and your folly. Number 7, gravity is this thing that pushes everybody down into the earth. For every force pushing you down, there's an equal force trying to pull you away. We are not quite as stuck to the earth as we think we are. All of this weight, we are always just merely falling, giving in to the size of it. Okay, sad one again, and it's gonna be okay. I promise we'll end on a happy one, and it'll be quick. Okay. After 7 years together, he turns to me and he says, "You know, when we first met, you promised to make my life more interesting. I guess you kind of dropped the ball on that one." So I pack my clothes into a basket, and I leave him just like that. I tell him, "You can have everything else. Keep the house we made a home, keep the walls we painted and the pictures we took and hung, keep the garden in the back and the raspberries that grow along the fence, keep the kitchen table on which I kicked your ass at chess and Scrabble and Rummy. Keep the books that we used to read aloud together, waiting for a tap at night before peeling the page. Keep the walking sticks we made along the Appalachian Trail and the bracelet from when I thought going to Juarez would be a good idea, and we almost died. Keep the car in which we drove to Savannah on a whim, the one we fought in San Francisco, the one we slept in the redwood forests, when you left our tent stakes on a beach in Malibu. I remember what a dream that all seemed like. Keep the buttons that I sewed on lovingly for you before your interviews. Keep the bed on which we conceived our son, and the poems that I wrote for you lying there beside him after he was born. You can have it all. And what I will keep is what is left of my dignity. Because after 7 years, you still believe that a poet can unlearn the weakness of emotion, that celebrations are for fools, and that candles are only for when the power is out. I tell him I have lost my flame for you, and the broken parts you thought you'd fixed were only hiding between my rib bones while I waited for you to just love me, to forgive me for my foolishness, my lust, and my spontaneity. I have put everything I have into you, but have grown tired of your inertia, of playing your entertainer and failing over and over and over. I tell him I have always been good at saying goodbye, bowing out before the tears and the screaming and the heavy on my knees. And you, love, you have taught me how to do all these things alone. Good luck, though, finding someone, anyone, who'll keep your interest. I want to say thank you so much, Eugene Poetry Slam. You guys are amazing, and this is great, and the free, amazing hot tea needs to just be a part of all slam always, forever. Oh my gosh. So good luck to everyone who's going up tonight for all the slam going on, and I can't wait to see what everyone does. Again, my name is Davidson, and thank you so much for listening. So this last one, I need you to do me a favor first. I need you to close your eyes and pretend like you guys are all from a big city. Okay, just try it. And you have just arrived at a small town. Okay? Welcome, Hustle Bucket. I can't believe that you made it. What with all that entertainment, all the magi's to be martyred, and the falcons in your belly, your big dreams must seem so far away. You can leave your city boots at the door with your worries. They've got no place here. Menominee, Wisconsin, town at the edge of the universe. Or maybe just Wisconsin. Neighbor to the wheat fields of Minnesota. home of the American heartbeat, home of the keys left in every car. I leave my bag on the table to go pee. The lady at the door is all of 5 feet tall and knows my grandmother's maiden name. There is change on the counter for your parking meter. Unlock your lungs and open your elbows. This is where we began. It is 65 and sunny. There are deer in the backyard. Go ride your bike on the sidewalks, all 3 of them, and when you see Mr. Johnson, look him in the eye and say hello. Not with your hands, but with your whole body, with your eyebrows and your molars, and stop to pet his giant dog whose tail wags really, really slow. We are in no hurry here. This is Menominee, and we have manners. We chew with our mouths closed. We were all born in a basket of wishes. We are the wind that sways all at once, that parts the grass in this perfect ebb and flow like your Uncle Eddie's back hair. Weeds to your knees, to your shoulders at times that flock into cricket call and grasshopper song by mid-afternoon. These bugs, they tend to the garden. There are more than you know, more than the stars in the sky, a billion watermelon diamonds that shimmy the night behind this giant pumpkin moon that just sits there. It will not ask you to sing to it. It will be there when you're older, like Patty at the antique shop, who says, those boys hit harder than they know what to do with, and they need to learn to leave their hacky on the ice. See, those boys, they've got dreams, and you do too. Be careful. Remember your potential. Take second to the old stone church whose wrinkles wait for your exhale. The road behind it leads to nowhere, but the sun will peek through your cotton and tell you of this bench that follows you through town. It will take you to a conversation when those headphones land in your lap. Oh, Mama, turn that music down, don't you know? There is wool to be dyed and zucchini bread in the oven. The air smells of freshly washed flannel. And I can see you itching for the exit. Already, little one. Your feet are tapping. Tumble rumbling like the leaves across Maine. Soon you'll want to leave this place again. Beyond the hourly bell and the turning lake that will never leave you, you will not forget your time, so take this whisper moment with you. Like a blanket, like a care package. You are loved. You are a good person. And there is always an extra bed in the house. You know, returning to where you began is not failure. There are so many ways to come home. Thank you.